On some recent videos, we've talked about rural broadband deployment, increasing our data speeds, and I've also been covering some of my experiences in shopping for a new cell phone plan through an MVNO like Mint or US Mobile. For the last week, I've been trying to take this show on the road, so I've got some thoughts on what it's like working mobile. And no matter where you're getting your work done these days, you're not going to want to miss the fine work done by the folks here at reviews.org. So make sure you're hitting all of those subscribe options underneath this video. It's kind of like two follow-ups in one. First up, and you'll have to pardon my voice, I'm coming off some of the worst laryngitis I've ever had in my entire life, but I think I can make it through this video. In my MVNO comparison, I mentioned we were going to be hitting the road soon. My family is road tripping. We decided to trek through New Mexico, often driving through a lot of rural areas of the state. This has been a phenomenal way to test the overall coverage of a carrier like T-Mobile. And for the most part, T-Mobile's network has been hanging in there pretty well. Only a few areas like outside Flagstaff where you're really going through some of that mountainous or rocky terrain where we couldn't get any signal. So not bad, we're feeling pretty well covered there. But here's the deal. If you've been aware of any of my commentary on other platforms or my own personal channel, I'm a huge fan. I'm a big advocate for working mobile. And by that, I legit mean trying to get as much work done from our phones as we possibly can. Case in point, I'm shooting 4K video from my phone. I've got a modest little rig here set up so I can get a little lighting, a little fill. Mic, you can obviously see the mic that's strapped to my chest here. And I feel like this is a good way to handle run and gun style production, and I don't have to worry about carting thousands of dollars worth of camera equipment and then, a $2,000 laptop to do all my editing from. I'm always proud to say all of this video was shot, edited, rendered, and uploaded from a smartphone. New Mexico is kind of the perfect place to test drive some of this kind of workflow. There are a lot of city areas, you've got Albuquerque and Santa Fe, but then there's such a huge population that is spread out across the state. My wife's family comes from a small town near the border of Arizona. My family comes from Los Lunas, New Mexico, right outside Albuquerque. And then we've got population centers of every size in between. This is where our conversations about the digital divide and who has access to premium content and premium services really comes into play. How can you be relevant in a 21st century economy if your data connection is really built for only one kind of interaction? It shouldn't come as any grand surprise that when we're visiting family in Vander Wagon, New Mexico, that our data infrastructure was extremely limited. And there, some of the options that are being taken advantage of are things like satellite internet. If I'm trying to craft high quality videos or trying to do any kind of live stream, it's kind of jerky of me to roll in, max out their data caps, and then still struggle to produce a high quality product, a nice looking video or a nice looking live stream. You look at the people who live there and they're kind of cut out of the conversation for the current era of social media. Now, sometimes that's good if you're not really super into Facebook, but that also means you lack some of the social interactions that you might glean or build a community on a service like Twitch. Obviously, the infrastructure improves when the population density gets a bit heavier, but we also need to have those conversations about not letting people in smaller towns fall farther and farther and farther behind the curve. But even when we made it to Albuquerque, this conversation is still lopsided and in kind of an infuriating way. Like I said, for my own personal channel and reviews, I'm trying to craft the same general quality of video that I would normally make in my little office in Los Angeles. 4K, 60 frame per second video with at least decent audio, stitching that all together with some nice B-roll, and then trying to shove it up an internet pipe so that other people can watch it. My folks live at the edge of Bernalillo County, kind of just outside the main cluster, the main population center of Albuquerque. It's where services like cell phone carriers are advertising 5G data connectivity, and Comcast is talking about their high-speed internet, 200 megabits, 400 megabits. But all of it is asymmetrical. Yeah, my folks live in an area where it's really not that difficult to consume content. They've got a decent enough data speed to stream 4K video. They just can't participate. They can't upload anything. All of the upstream in this area is woefully stunted. It's actually kind of impressive. Comcast Xfinity can deliver 400 megabit downloads to areas that are outside of some of the major population centers, but they seem to max out at a 5 megabit upload, and that's peak traffic. So often when we're trying to have video calls with my folks, there are a lot of complaints about stuttering images, the video feed will freeze, sometimes the audio will lag. The most recent video call we had with my folks, there was like a 20-second delay between seeing the video and hearing the audio get transmitted. And you start to try and troubleshoot, like maybe it's our Wi-Fi router, maybe it's their router, but at the end of the day, this is a service that can't sustain a 5 megabit per second upload. It peaks. You get data speeds up to 5 megabits. Entire populations of people, when they don't have the tools or the resources to share their story. We honestly don't know how many people are being ignored or omitted from this conversation because we legitimately never get to hear from them. This is why the conversations we have about funding broadband deployment or redefining what broadband should be. Should you be able to call something high-speed internet if you can only sustain a 3 megabit per second upstream? What does that mean for the future of entertainment, for the future of healthcare, for the future of education? I think we can do better than that. Then sitting on a couch with my mom where she was thinking, hey, maybe we could just pay for a higher tier plan, get a faster upload speed, have nicer video calls with our family. And we're going through all of the options on the Comcast Xfinity page, and every time you would click, yes, I would like more information, it would tell you all of the amazing download speeds you could get, and it would never tell us. We even tried to act like we were setting up a brand new service. We stole one of her neighbor's addresses to pretend like we were signing up new service, and at no point did they ever disclose or share what the upload speeds would be. We, at some point, just walked away with the assumption that even if we got a 400 megabit download plan, we'd still be rocking 5 megabit uploads, because that's all Comcast would tell us. And 5 megabits is not high speed. I want to leave this video off with a question. It's something that I'm loosely, kind of quietly petitioning the folks at reviews.org, especially the team that is most responsible for testing every carrier and ISP, really checking in on that data. I think we should be making a bigger deal out of upload speeds. When a service is advertised, gigabit speeds, 400 meg speeds, all the speed you could need, they almost never disclose what the upload is and how lopsidedly asymmetrical it is. Reviews.org has an incredible website, reviews.org. Even on our site, we don't always stress the upload speeds. If that's a consideration for you, if that's something that you'd like to see covered in a little bit more detail, drop some comments down below, and maybe with a little help from the community here on this YouTube channel, we can encourage just a little bit of a refit to the reviews.org site. And of course, stay tuned to this YouTube channel. We've got a bunch of videos coming out. We've got some contests, some giveaways coming up, some stuff you're definitely not gonna wanna miss. As always, thanks so much for watching, for sharing these videos, and subscribing to the channel. For reviews.org, I'm Juan Carlos Bagnell, and I'll catch y'all on the next video.